Hi, firstly welcome to my YouTube channel and I hope you are all well. So without dwelling too much on the COVID-19 outbreak, this year was supposed to be the year of the 22 Rimfire. Now by that I mean the huge input of rifles being distributed across the UK from the likes of Hauer, Bergara, Tikka, huge amount of CZ 457s coming in, Savage pushing the B22 with some new precision models, and basically the whole long range 22 taking off across the UK and obviously around the world, and practical barricade shooting also coming into its own this year. What a gutter. We are distraught with the timing. Obviously everybody is, but we had big plans and hopefully they are just put on hold and we can continue as and when we can reopen. So what was the big appeal for this year's long range 22 rimfire competitions? Well, the easiest point is a lot of us got vermin control. Those that don't probably easily get it from a farmer, and you can find fields this size to push your 22 to 200-300 yards, even more if you're capable and you have the land to safely do it. Obviously when you're trying to shoot long range with centerfire rifles, you're looking at up to a mile, which not everybody can do and get access to very easily, but with the 22 it's certainly on your doorstep. So along with long range precision shooting with the rimfire rifle, you can also take full advantage with barricade shooting, which I know the guys at Rifleman Firearms, which is probably one of the best ranges in the UK for civilian use, they've built these in anticipation for what's going to be a great year for the rimfire competition level. So these are easily knocked up, just a basic pallet. You can practice this in your own range as well and your local permission. Certainly great fun introducing different types of shooting that you probably wouldn't have practiced before. Very, very addictive. So with barricade shooting being something I'm really personally keen to get into, I'm on a bit of a journey to get myself a new practical but accurate 22 rimfire rifle so I can take part in all the competitions coming this year. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be looking to get myself a 22 rimfire for barricade practical shooting, and with that in mind, this is my first test rifle. So it's the CZ 457 in the synthetic stock. Synthetic because I just want to keep it as light as possible, and if I do ding it here and there, I'm not going to get upset by ruining the woodwork. What we've also added is the CZ tactical bolt knob, just for loading a little bit quicker. I've raised the cheek piece, just a bit of foam underneath this neoprene sleeve. On top we have the Vortex Diamondback Tactical, first focal plane, 6-24 by 50. Excellent rifle, done some very nice precision 22 target shooting with that one. We have a GMK bipod, and due to my lockdown habits, I've added a charm to all my rifles, so we have a little Darth Vader for this one.
Shall we continue?
Okay, so I'm on the range at Rifleman Firearms Target Shooting Club. Now, we're going to test some ammo today. We're going to try subsonic, we're going to try super high velocity, and then we're going to try some hyper velocity. They all come from CCI, so we have the standard, we have the Velocitor, and then just for kicks and giggles, we're going to see what the Stinger can do as well. The reason I'm going to test these different ones is because obviously at different distances your bullets are going to drop. Now the less it drops, the better it's going to be, because you don't have to quite remember your holdover whilst you're in a timed competition scenario shoot. But also, more importantly, they still have to remain accurate. So let's give these three a test and see how we get on. Okay, here we are at the target at 50 yards. We're going to do a 5-shot group at 50 yards with the subsonic, well, standard 40 grain target, then the Velocitor, then the Stingers. Then we're going to push the card out to 100 yards and see how much drop we can get. Okay, magazines out, rifles back, gun is safe. So as you can see, I'm just shooting off the bench. I'm not looking at amazing groups and precision shooting here. This is just about getting an average of a group and seeing how much they will drop from 50 to 100 yards to see how it will balance out between the accuracy and the drop, judging targets randomly from a sort of 50 to 100 yards on a competition scenario. So let's take a look at the groups and see how we got on. Okay, as we can see, the subsonics, well, that's around about a half an inch, so that's okay. Not too displeased with that, considering the rushing. Also, again, the velocitors, not bad at all. It's 5 shots there. Shame about the last one. And then the stingers, well, at 50 yards, I wouldn't be using those, so I'm not even going to bother to shoot those at 100. Actually, yes, I will. We will do, just to see how much it drops, although I'm pretty certain that's going to open up and pretty much scatter like a shotgun. So let's put it back out to 100 and see how we get on. Okay, target is at 100 and we're almost ready to go. So I'll pop my ears on. Again, we're going to go with the standard velocity to start with, the target at 40 grain. Now, these generally drop between 7 and 8 MOA, depending on the rifle, the barrel length, the profile, etc. So this one's not going to spread too much. I'm expecting around an inch group, which is your MOA, your target group size, really. So let's give this one a go, see how we get on. So once again, the rifle is safe and we're ready to take a look at the 100-yard results. Now again, I've just picked at random 3 types of ammunition from CCI. There's over a dozen available, from the very slow segmented quiets up to the Stinger is their highest velocity. Now there's mini mag in there, there's some hollow points, there's all sorts you can test on your own rifle. Now this rifle by no means will give a broad results for every rifle out there. This is obviously a very low profile, small hunting barrel, but it's to keep the weight down for the type of shooting that I want to do. So let's just have a closer look at what we did at 100. Now, as we go back to our original 50 yard with the targets, 40 grain standards, we can go down and we can see I've got 4 shots there in probably just over ½ an inch. And we're just over an inch if we count the loose one. Now, obviously I'm still getting used to this rifle as well, so my trigger control is not great. Probably will lighten the trigger from its original factory setting, and I would imagine we're going to get well under 1 inch at 100 yards every time. So very, very happy with that. And again, as I said, it was probably about 7 to 7.5 inches drop, which is standard for most subsonic target rounds. So moving across to the velocitors, here's the original group. So very, very pleased with that little cluster there. And then well, elevation, we're only about ½ an inch out from the highest to the lowest, but we've got a pretty bad spread there. Now I know this was the first one, and then the other 4 came in at just an inch and a half maybe. So a little bit more practice with the rifle, I'm sure that will close down to 1 inch as well. Forgetting this one because I'm sure that was just me with poor trigger control. So we're actually looking there at about a 3-inch drop. Now that's not bad. So you could pretty much fire from 25 to 100 yards, and you've only got a 3-inch window to worry about, which is pretty good at 100 yards when you're shooting practical on a time scenario. Now going across to the velocitors, well, not quite sure what to make here because it seems that they grouped quite well. Maybe again more practice and trigger control, and that will prove to be a lot better. Now interestingly, that 50 yard and 100 yard group, there's no difference at all there. They're all mixed in amongst themselves, apart from one extreme stray, which I don't know what happened there. I'm not even going to guess if it was me, a flyer, or what. But actually the 100 yard group probably better than the 50 yard. One of those gun phenomenas. And okay, so if you want to use stingers and not have to worry about any elevation drop, you're bang on. Velocitors, just got about a 2.5 to 3 inch drop, nothing too major. But again, going back to the most accurate, which I would use, and to be honest, a lot of competitions out there will insist on subsonic target ammo, or basically non high velocity. So it would be interesting to find yourself high velocity with no drop for when you have to do quick shooting, and also a more accurate subsonic or standard just to enter certain competitions that are out there. On a side note, just going back to the gun itself on a side review, would I use this on barricade and practical shooting, or even bench target shooting? Yes, definitely. The price point is amazing. It's coming in at, I think riflemen are going to be doing these at about $420, $425. I like the stock. Not everybody likes synthetic, but I like that. It's got some nice design to it. Yeah, cheap piece. If you're going to do any kind of precision, you're going to need that. If you're shooting off the fly nice and quick, you don't really necessarily have to go with that. The trigger will need lightning. It's good, but I just want to have it a little bit more crisp and precise. Action's very, very smooth, no issues with that at all. Cycling was CZ are always phenomenal. Really good standard rifles. I've had 4.55s previously, and my current 17 HMR is also a 5.5. One thing I will point, however, let me just release the bolt. So one of the upgrades from the 4.55 to the 4.57 is the bolt release. No longer do you have to play around with the trigger. You've got a side button just to release that. Now, let me just point out one issue I've had. These swivel studs, you are going to struggle to get a sling, to get a bipod, or any kind of accessory on the bottom of here. It's very strange. All the other 4.57s, the Royal, the MTR, the Premium, and hopefully the LRP when it finally hits the shop, aren't going to have this issue. Now, because they've put some sort of overmold on the synthetic stock, it makes it incredibly tight to get a bipod on, and you will damage your swivel stud. The mold and plastic, or whatever you want to call it, around there is going to get damaged and scratched when you put a bipod on. Bit of a strange oversight, but does it stop me wanting to get the rifle or to purchase one of these? Absolutely not. It's, you know, here nor there whether you're going to put a slight scratch on the swivel plastic around there. You might not want to put a bipod on if you're just going to do hunting or practical stuff. I mean, that'll be coming off when I do some kind of barricade shooting anyway, so it's not a deal breaker, let's say. The rifle overall, excellent, excellent. I would give it an easy for the pricing as well. Comes with a 5-shot magazine. The weight is absolutely perfect, just what I want for some quick shooting off of barricades. Yeah, I would easily give it a 9 out of 10. That swivel stud is the only drawback, I would say, to stop me giving it a 10 out of 10 for its price point. I'm sure as the gun runs in, the accuracy will close in. Not that was bad, 50 yards at half an inch. I'm more than happy with that, especially as I've only tried 3 different types of ammo with it, and there's a world of selection out there for me to go through. So all in all, CZ, thumbs up, brilliant. Maybe you want to have a look at those swivel studs before you go pumping too many out of the factory. Cheers. Okay, on a serious note, just a quick reminder that every time you go to a range or you use your firearm out in the field, just be aware that everything you do has its consequences to the whole gun industry and everybody with a firearms license. So make sure you've got your safety protection, eyes, ears, use breech flags when required at ranges, make sure your rifle's safe at all times. In this industry, we cannot take any kinds of risks or chances, so safety is paramount. So remember, shoot safe or don't shoot at all.